What up, people? Karl Anthony Towns is a New York Knick, and that means there is some drama going down in the Eastern Conference this season. You heard?
I heard you.
So, let's start with the Knicks, right? Obviously, with the addition of Karl Anthony Towns, they have a bit of a different dynamic. And losing Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle is going to be tough, for Knicks fans. I think a lot of Knicks fans were super excited to see, the full Villanova Knicks kind of reunite. Obviously, they didn't have Ryan Arcidiacono, if that's how you say his name. I might be mispronouncing it. You guys know I'm not good at pronunciation, so stop giving me shit. But but the four, power of friendship Villanova Knicks would have been very interesting to see. But apparently there's been some reports that Dante kind of didn't want a reduced role. He didn't really want to be coming off the bench, which it seemed like probably was going to happen, especially with Mikal being there. And, I get that, but it's a shame that we didn't really get to see it unfold. But I think what I really want to discuss is, does this trade now make the Knicks a serious threat to the Boston Celtics? And I think the Knicks probably would have given the Celtics the, best kind of run for their money, if you will, last season if they had stayed fully healthy. But obviously we didn't see that. And the Knicks wound up losing to the Indiana Pacers. But I think having Karl Anthony Towns does make it better for them in the future. And it all really depends on, the health of the team, obviously, as, most teams in the NBA, depend on the health of their team. But I think the biggest mismatch issue that any team has when going against the Celtics is, how do you guard a lineup that has Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kristaps Porzingis? I think, obviously, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are going to get theirs. They're just, they're top 10 players in the league. They're going to do what they need to do to, advance the game in the right direction for their team. But Porzingis is a guy that is extremely difficult to guard. And you saw it the year that he was on the Wizards, which I missed, by the way. I wish KP was still on the Wizards. But you could just see it then when, we really didn't have a lot of offense. KP was just shooting the ball over people. He's that good. He can put the ball on the floor a little bit and, kind of get to his spots. He can shoot very well from pretty much anywhere on the court. And doing that at 7'3" is crazy. It's crazy. So I think adding Karl Anthony Towns, it gives you a little bit more length than you would have, because Mitchell Robinson can't stay healthy. He just can't do it. Reports came out that he's probably not going to be back until December or January, which is why I'm assuming this trade, kind of got executed now. And Cat's going to have his hands full, right? He's going to really have to be a good defensive player for this team to really work. We know Cat has good offense. He can score a ton of points. He had a 62-point game this past season, where he pretty much had 40 at halftime. So he can light it up in a hurry, but it's going to be really important to see how he works with Jalen Brunson and how he defends. Because I do think Cat, formerly really wasn't a great defensive player. I think he's gotten a lot better. And it's going to be interesting to see how he matches up with, some of the bigs in the Eastern Conference, namely Joel Embiid and Kristaps Porzingis. So I do think this improves their chances. It's going to be interesting to see what the mixture is. I was kind of mulling it over, earlier when the trade, first happened, and I wasn't really sure what to expect. I think chemistry is a huge thing in the NBA. But just after hearing some of the details of the trade, I think the chemistry is going to work out just fine. I mean, it seems like Cat never really requested a trade from the Wolves and didn't really ever make it, public or even in private saying that he wanted to be traded. So the fact that they just decided to trade him, especially when he's under contract for a while, is very interesting to me, especially for Dante and Julius Randle, which I don't think either of them are going to make up for what, Cat was on the Wolves. And, the first round pick that they got, from the Knicks is still going to be, useful, but I don't even know what year that's supposed to convey in. I'm assuming it's not going to be recent because I think the pick is, from way of Detroit, and I can't imagine that Detroit is just giving out first round picks, in these, coming years, because they're going to be terrible. They're going to be awful. So the fact the Knicks have a pick from the Pistons in the near future is going to be interesting. But that's with the Wolves now. So I think this does make the Knicks a bigger threat. I do think this puts the Knicks above the 76ers. I think the Knicks were already better than the 76ers. That's just me personally. I think the addition of Paul George to the 76ers is a great addition, but I don't think that does for the Sixers what this Cat trade does for the Knicks. So it's gonna be a crazy year. It's gonna be a crazy year. I'm gonna be watching a ton of Knicks games. This is gonna be a super exciting season. This is probably the most talented and most accredited Knicks team that I've or will have ever seen in my lifetime. I've never seen a team like this. Even when we had Carmelo and Amari in the Big Apple, it wasn't like this. It was not like this. Jalen Brunson has ascended rapidly to being a full-time superstar. Josh Hart is probably one of the best, if not the best, role players in the league. Mikal Bridges is right there with him, kind of a superstar role player in his own right. You still have OG Anunoby, who's hopefully going to stay healthy and just lock up guys on the defensive end. It's going to be a super interesting team. So I think the lineups, match up just as good with the Celtics as anybody in the East would, frankly, and probably as good as anyone in the NBA would. I mean, I think the Lakers, honestly, can match up pretty well with the Celtics if they're healthy. I think Jared Vanderbilt, if he's healthy, is a really good defensive player, and he's got length, so he can kind of guard Tatum or Jaylen Brown or Derek White or Drew Holiday. You could put him on any of them, but it's unlikely that the Lakers are really going to make it to that point, and be in the finals playing against the Celtics, because that's really the only playoff matchup where they're going to actually link up, because they're in two different conferences. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But, as far as the Knicks, Drew Holiday is going to match up with Jalen Brunson. Josh Hart and Derek White are probably going to be matched up. Mikal at the 3, guarding, Tatum or Brown, probably Brown. And then, at the 4, you got OG guarding Tatum, and then you got Cat and KP or Cat and Al Horford. So it's going to be a crazy mix. And, eventually I want to talk about what this does for the Timberwolves, but I want to keep this video a little bit more about the Knicks. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think the Knicks, have a better chance now with Karl Anthony Towns on the roster than they did before this trade went down? And, do you think this is a legitimate threat to the Celtics repeat odds? Do you think the Celtics can still go out there and win another championship, win back-to-back championships and, take out the Knicks again? Let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what the people have to say about this blockbuster trade and how it affects the league. So let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you with the next one. Peace.